Okay, so today's session, are you able to hear me properly, everybody?
Yeah, Animesh.
Good. So today's session is basically reports. Sorry about it. Reports and dashboards. Reports and dashboards are very important, crucial tools which allows us to see the data, which is there in Salesforce, right? And there can be many analysis of data, not only the data, also analyze on our data, right? So let's see the reports first. But what are the different kinds of reports do we have? Reports are of four kinds. Let's see. One is called tabular, one is called summary, one is called matrix, another is called joint. Okay. So what are these kinds of reports are, and how do we see the difference of these reports? So a report can show data, and a simple solution of seeing a data is in a table structure, right? You will have column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, and column 0, and this is row 0, row 1, row 2, something like this. So this is a simple tables format. Any report, this report can bring you the data from maximum 3 objects together. So think about a structure of account, then contact, and if there is a child object of contact, then all the 3 objects together, all the data of all the 3 objects can be showcased in, or you can see at the same time in your report. Okay. So seeing a table form a form of report is called a tabular report. That is the first format, right? Tabular. Okay. Now, if there is any numeric field on in this report, think about this is the amount field, a numeric field, right? It can be like a number, it can be currency, it can be any kind of a numeric value, maybe 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, something else. And if there is another column which is repeating of nature, like the value is value A, again this one is value B, and this one is again value A. Yeah. If something of that sort happens, what you can do is that you can group this table by this column which has repeating values, and you can add up all the amounts of these repeating values. So let me give you an example. If value A is 100, value B is 300, and value A again here is 500. So if I group this column, it will look like this. Value A will show as 100 plus 500, 600. This is sum. And value B will show up as sum as 300, right? So all the value A's records will be summed up together, and it will show like this. So this is the new table structure which will come up, wherein you can summarize any repeating values of a table. If you do this based on any, so you have to summarize one column based on the values of another column, right? So 2 columns are involved minimum. If you are summarizing on the row wise, then it is called a summary report. That is the only difference. So from a table report, if you are starting a summary, so you summarize any of the columns, then that becomes a summary report. Any questions so far? Now, let's see a summary report. Summary report is what I said, is a summary of the rows, isn't it? So think about this: row 1, row 2, then there is a summary. So it is 100 and 200. So this will become 300. This is the summary row. And then again row 3, row 4, maybe this is 400 and 500. So there is another 400, 500, 900, sorry. Yeah, 900 would be summary 2. These are subtotals. And then there would be a grand total, 900 plus 300, that is a 1200. So this is a pure summary report, right? But if there is another column which I use, column 3 now in picture, which is also a breakdown of these values, wherein I can see the value of summary in my column based on column 3 values. So breakdown of 2 columns now. So one breakdown is here, which we are seeing, column 1 breakdown, which is adding up row wise. But if I do a addition of column 3 values, apart from this adding up of this will become a matrix report. So matrix is a summary on rows as well as columns. Okay, 2-level summarize. If you do multiple column summarization on row only, then that will still be a summary report. It will not be a matrix report. But if you are doing a summary on the column level, then that becomes a matrix report. Okay. And fourth form of report is basically a joint report, which is just bringing up 2 reports, report 1 and report 2 together in the same page. This is supported in Classic at this point, so we're not going to discuss the joint report today. Okay, so let's get into the report and we'll see this. Before doing that, it is very important to realize that the value which you are seeing on report is dynamic. Dynamic means whoever is logging in, he is only seeing his entitled values only. The same report, if multiple people open when they log in, they can see different values because they probably are entitled to see values. And how are they will be seeing their values? It is completely based on what is the OWD setting of the org, the sharing rules, which we all discussed, right, in last classes. So based on whatever records they are entitled to see, they can only see those records. Okay. So OWD, sharing rules, role hierarchy, everything will be applicable when you are running a report. Based on all those sharing logic, whatever records you are entitled to see, you will be seeing that on the report. And this will be dynamically fetched. That means on runtime at that moment when the report is run, whatever you are entitled to see, you will see it. So same report can show different results to different people because they are not entitled to see the records. Right? Any questions so far? Okay, let's see the report now. Reports can be created by system admins and it can also be created by common users. That is why reports and dashboard are not inside setup because common user cannot go to setup, right? So that is the reason report and dashboard is now available on tabs, just like a normal user uses the application. You see, you have the dashboard and reports here. So let's go to the reports first. So if I see by default, Salesforce gives you a lot of reports. If you go to all reports, there are a lot of report types which is already available in report. If you go to create a new report, you have to select first a report type. A report type is what? Report type is the objects on which you are running your report. It can be one object, it can be multiple object. Let's run a report on account opportunity object. So this is a default report, and let's go to the filter. Let's make this close date all time. And if I do a save and run, then it will ask for a new report opportunity. So my opportunity report API name does not have any space. This report needs to be saved in a new folder, then only either public folder, then it will be applicable for other people to see or use. Okay, if you are only having a private report, then you can only see this report, you can only use the report, nobody else will be able to use this report. So usually what we do, we will go to public folder and we will either select this folder or we'll store it in a new folder and we'll share it to other people. Okay, so if you save it, immediately the report runs, and this is the report. You see, it's a normal table, right? So this is a tabular report. So when you are creating a normal report, it becomes a tabular report. You can change this report in runtime as well as design time. This is runtime. Okay, you are seeing the values, that's why it is a runtime. Here you can make changes. Okay, and you can save this report also. Yeah, but you can also go and do that in design time. So this is the design view. In this, you have everything here, all the fields here. You can do changes here. Like I want to now remove this. Yeah. Every time you change, say here, you have to run this. Okay. Then only you will see the values. Otherwise, it will not show. So total value record is 31. I am seeing the exact same values which I see here in my list view also. If you see all opportunities, we have 31 opportunities, right? The same values we are seeing on the reports also. So I am seeing my new report with 31 records. Okay. So I can do a summarization of this report. You see the add chart is locked out. It is not, you cannot do anything on this tabular report. Tabular report cannot be charted. What is a chart? Chart is a graphical representation of the value. We'll see this. But for that, I can go and summarize this value. See, this is the amount field. This is a numeric field. So I can summarize this, right? So how can I summarize it? I said there are two columns which is needed to summarize it, right? So let's summarize this on stage. So you see, there are some opportunities in different stage. So I want to see what is the amount on each stage. So let's, you see, you can group row by this field. Okay. So it is better to go here and do a summarization of here. So if you go to stage, this is the amount field, you see. When you click on this, this is a numeric field. That's why this hash is showing up here. I can do a sum of this report. And where do I group rows? Based on stage. So I will put this into here. Let me put type stage. And I have added a grouping of rows based on stage. So each stage will have a sum of amount. So let's save and run. Yeah. Now I see in prospecting stage, there is this opportunity. In ID decision making stage, there are 3 opportunities. Value proposition has 2 opportunities. If I remove these detailed rows, then it is easier to read. So now you are seeing this. It will show how many records are there in each row, and it is adding up all the amounts of those opportunities and showing up here. You can break it down using detailed row, but if you remove this, this is very easy for us to understand. All these totalings are subtotals, right? And then finally, we also have a grand total. This is a summary report. Here you can add chart. There can be different ways of doing a chart. This is a horizontal bar chart. Keep on playing with it. You can do this. This is my favorite report, favorite chart. So this is a donut. Here it will show the whole sum and it will show a breakup of each. So you can go and you can see in which stage it is there and how much amount is there, right? So you can save this. So this is a summary report. Here you can summarize on more columns, but if you are summarizing on the same amount field, then that is a summary report. Now let's make this a matrix report. Let's edit it once again. You see there is a group of rows. You can add more groups here. If you are adding more groups in the rows, then it still is a summary report. But if you are adding a group here, then that becomes a matrix report. Now let's see how can I break these numbers. So here you think about this ID decision making. If I blow it up, so here it is you see closed one has so many opportunities, right? But let's see this. If you see, maybe there are two types of customers here, right? One is a new customer, one is the existing customer. What if I want to have a even subgrouping? I want to see what is the amount of new customer and what is the amount of existing customer inside this closed one, right? If that is what I want to go for. How do I can group it based on type? So let's group it by type. When I group it by type, and this time I'm grouping on columns, each column will become the value of that field. So now save and run and let's see this. Right. Now I remove the detail row for a while. Now let's see. In prospect, let's go with the stage wherein multiple values are there. So closed one had total number of values. Closed one, inside closed one, you see there are three kinds of types. One is the new customer. The total of new customer is this. Existing customer is this, and existing customer upgrade is this. So I have first grouped based on stage. I have also grouped based on another column and placed it in the column level. So now there is a grouping which is a row wise grouping, as well as there is a column wise grouping also that is happening. So this is the total. You see, this is how a matrix report is created. If you want to see details, you can blow it up and you can click any of the rows or any of this and you can see the details here. You can see this, you can see the details here, you can see this, you can see the details here, right? Any cell you can go and you can see the details of that cell down below. This is a matrix report. So we have discussed all the three kinds of report, and of course the chart is also applicable for this. Any questions so far? Whatever values you are seeing in the screen is based on whatever you can see based on roles and permissions, whatever we have discussed in last two classes. Okay. So this report will only fetch you values which you can see. It will not give you any values, any records which you cannot see. Play around with the reports and dashboards. Very easy and very important, and very as an admin, it will be your job to create reports for other people because you know Salesforce better than anybody else. You can play with filters also. Go ahead and put different kinds of filters. Put some values here. It will now show up lesser results based on the filter criteria which you have provided. It works quite similar to what you did on the list view, only that it can fetch values from multiple objects. Now, very important thing to understand here. This report is analytics, right? Sometimes it is very important for some people who are not even using Salesforce, maybe senior executives who don't log into Salesforce. They want to see, like a CEO wants to see this report in the morning every time. You can send this report version to any person as a screenshot or like this using a thing called subscribe. It is very important. So what in subscribe, what is happens? It takes a snapshot of whose records. It is mine. I am the system administrator. I can send my picture to my version of the report to everybody, my data to everybody, or I can choose somebody else's, maybe a senior manager whose data I want to send to everybody. Yeah, because they are not logging into Salesforce, right? So they cannot see the report. This will be sent in mail. So you can choose the frequency in which you are sending, daily, weekly, or monthly. If you can send a time, and then that's it, and you save it. So this report which goes out every morning to mailbox, people do not need to then log into Salesforce. And you can add recipients. I forgot to show you edit recipients, right? You can put different users here, or public groups or roles, whatever. You can add it here, and they will get a report on their mailbox. So this will become a static report. Okay, so report will become static. Then this data will be frozen. A snapshot of this data will be taken, and it will be sent to everybody's mailbox. Okay, and whose version of the report will be taken snapshot? The person who is getting selected here in this one, right? Run report as. So this is also called a running user. So in reports, when you are taking a snapshot or sending to people, running user is really important, because running user is the person whose record or whose view is sent to everybody. Because as I said, report can have several different values based on record level security and permissions. That's why it is very important to decide whose record, whose report, whose values, whose snapshot, whose screenshot should go out. Any questions so far? You can also export this report in Excel format or other formats like XLSX and CSV formats. So these report values sometimes is very handy for you to do exports of tables. So you don't have to log into Workbench all the time to do any kind of export. You can directly export values of account contact through reports also. Clear? Now let's see what is a dashboard. Before we move into dashboard, another thing to mention is that if I am creating a custom object, let's see the account object first. You see, enable reports is you cannot do anything here, right? So when you are creating a custom object, yeah, like application object is a custom object which we have created. You can go and edit. Can you create a report on application object? Let's see. New report. There is no application report type, right? How do I create a report on application object then? Why am I not seeing it? Because you have to enable reports on any custom object which you create. So if you go there, there is a allow report checkbox. This needs to be ticked. Then only Salesforce will give you the option to now create report on your custom object. So you go and now you are saying application object. Based on relationship, it is showing up multiple report types, which is possible. So now you can choose the application object and you can create your own reports on application custom type. Okay, so enabling report, if you're not able to find it, you have to go and check that allow reports is enabled on that object or not. Yeah, it is very vital. This one needs to be enabled. Then only that record type will come up. Okay. Okay, so now I will stop sharing this screen and I will go back to my desktop. Okay. Unlike reports, what is a dashboard? Have you heard about dashboard? Anybody can recollect the term dashboard outside of IT? Have you heard this term dashboard ever? Anybody? Do you have any vehicle, bike or car? Anybody? So if you are sitting in a car and this is your steering and this is the driver's seat, do you see a section here which is showing you your speedometer, how many value, how much fuel do you have, what is the RPM in which this is running, and other matrices of the car? Have you seen this? Shreya,
No, sir.
you have not seen this in a car.
Oh,
Speedometer
hi.
you have
There
seen, right?
is a yes, yes.
So what is that called? Any idea? Furkan?
So which one you're talking about? You're talking about steering wheel.
No, no, no. Which is behind the steering, wherein you see the speedometer,
Yeah.
RPM, empty fuel tank. What is this called?
This is called dashboard.
Dashboard. Exactly. So you have heard about a term dashboard outside of our IT, right? So what is this dashboard? If I had a car without this one, would have been beneficial for me? Can I?
No, we cannot track anything. I mean,
Yeah,
at what speed the car is going,
yeah.
and
So
lot of notifications are there.
right. So I want to, when I am riding a car, it is very important for me to have this information ready with me, right? So if this was in digital format, think about this like rows after rows coming to you. Was that possible for you to read and understand what is the notification type? That is why a pictorial graphical representation is provided to you, which is very easy for you to understand, right? What is the car speed? What is the empty tank, right? How much it is full? Immediately you look at it, you don't have to waste time. Immediately you understand that I need to make corrections, right? A IT company works on the same way. When the CEO is getting into calls, he need to see the snapshot and a pictorial representation of data in order to take decisions. He cannot go with reports which can have thousands and thousands lines of that makes no sense to him, right? He cannot go through that. So he needs to have a pictorial representation of data so that he can immediately pinpoint what is going wrong, what needs correction, what needs to be rectified. Exactly how, if your speedometer is showing too much high speed, then you probably will put the brakes and you will slow down your car. So dashboard is exactly the same in IT industry also. In Salesforce also, dashboard is the same. What is dashboard? Dashboard is a section which you can create, which will show pictorial representation of different reports. So the charts which you put in the report, the previous chart, that chart you can bring here. Different charts of different report you can bring here, or you can create your own new chart on that report, and you can put it on dashboard, and that dashboard becomes your a view of the organizational data. Clear? Second part is, unlike report, dashboard is static by default. Dashboard is static. That means a person who created the dashboard, that running user data everybody will see. Whenever you click on that dashboard, you will see that person's data. Okay, even if you have logged in, you will see that person's data. But if you want to see your data, dynamic data, like it was in reports, in that case you have to convert this dashboard to dynamic dashboard. We'll see this as we speak. Same dashboard is also can be created by normal user or admin users. That's why, like reports, dashboard is also a tab. So here I am into the dashboard tab. I will create a new dashboard. Again, the same folder structure is the way in which dashboard and reports are shared. It works exactly like a Google Drive folder. So if you put anything in Google Drive, share that folder, everything which is inside that folder is shared to people. Similarly, the dashboard, reports and dashboard exactly works. Okay. Let's name it my dashboard. And I can select the folder. All folders are there. You can create your folder. And I create my first dashboard. Here, you see, I can create my component. If I create my component, I have to select the report. I just created my opportunity report. Let's select it. I can use the chart which is there on the report, or I can have my own chart. Okay. Let's have my own chart. So this is the, I can use the same report again and again with different views also if I want. But ideally, one report will have only one chart, which I will put in a dashboard. But I can use the same report again and I put a different chart if I think that adds value. Yeah. And I can use the same report again or some other maybe report. Save. And when I do done, this is the dashboard. The benefit of dashboard is that you can use and paste this dashboard in the home page. So whenever somebody logs into your organization, immediately you can see what is the state of the organization and the data, right? When you are creating a dashboard, when you do an edit, and this is the setting, at that point, view dashboard as is very critical. So when somebody else is seeing this dashboard, and you have made this dashboard public, they will be seeing whose data? My data or somebody else's data? Or they will see their own data, the dashboard viewer. First two are static dashboard, which is default. If you set this one, this becomes a dynamic dashboard. If I set is this, when anybody who is opening the report, they will see viewing as my name. Okay. And when you subscribe, you just don't have to do a running user here because you are seeing the running user here. You can just tell when to send this as report, as in mailbox. You can take the screenshot. This is already a static data, so I don't worry about it, right? But if you want to make the dashboard dynamic so that anybody who is logging in, only his data he wants to see, in that case, you have to use this one. You can also allow them to change and see somebody else's data. If you take this, then dashboard viewer choose whom they want to wish the dashboard. If you are setting a dashboard to be dynamic, then what happens? Your subscription goes away. You cannot subscribe to that dashboard because now you do not know whose data you will be sending, right? So you cannot subscribe to that dashboard, but you can change the value here and you can select somebody else's data, some other user's data you want to see. You can do that. Yeah. So that's why it works. So this becomes a dynamic dashboard. Dynamic dashboard cannot be sent to mailbox. Static dashboards can be sent to mailbox. Reports are always dynamic. So you have to choose a running user in order to send it to people's mailbox because you have to convert that to a static report. Then only you can send it, right? Any questions so far? You can put a dashboard on your home page. You can go to edit page, just like you open any lightning page. And then you can go and go to dashboard. So you can set dashboard here. And it has taken my dashboard because that is the only dashboard I have. I can have multiple dashboard if that is the case. And I activate my home page. If I now go back, did I make change? I think I did not. No, just change. Activate. Yeah, now it is there. Assign and obstacle. Save. Yeah, now the dashboard comes on your homepage. So every time you log in, you can see the data of the organization, and you will see the viewing as also person. So whose data are you exactly seeing on the screen? Because many of the data might be not possible for you to see because you do not have rights to see that. But if dashboard is created by somebody, then whole organization's data you can see, even if you do not have permissions. So it's just a graphical representation of data of the organization data. Okay, so this will give them what is going on in your organization and how things are happening. So this is report and dashboard. Play around with report and dashboard. If you do not have any questions, then we'll stop today. And next week we will not have a class. I will let you revise it for a week, and we will catch up on 26th. Yeah. Then we'll go into automation, because if you are not like fully, you are not completing these parts before we move into the next phase. Phase 2 is complete. We'll move to phase 3. It will be very tough for you to move on. So I will give you some breathing space, study, and then we'll restart.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a nice day ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Alindon, stay back.